Brokerage is one of the most misunderstood parts of the commercial real estate industry, and not all jobs in brokerage are created equal. And while you can make a lot of money as a broker, if you're good at what you do, there are multiple different paths that could get you there, and each of these is going to give you a very different experience. So in this video, we'll talk through what it's really like to start a career in commercial real estate brokerage and the things that you should be thinking about if this is where you want to be. So when you first start out in brokerage, there are really two main paths you can go down, which are the sales path and the analyst path. And on the sales path, you'll typically be on 100% commission without any base salary, and your main goal will be to focus on generating new business. And on the analyst path, you will usually have a base salary along with an annual bonus, and your main focus will be to underwrite deals and put together pitch decks to support the producers on your team. Now, regardless of which of these two paths you choose, the first thing you need to know about starting a career in brokerage is that your first 3 to 5 years in this part of the business are typically really hard. If you start out on the 100% commission route at a company like Marcus & Millichap or Matthews with no real estate experience and no relationships in this industry, it can take a really long time just to get your first listing. And this means that you need to go in being prepared to make very little or no money at all for your first 18 to 24 months on the job, or sometimes even longer when transaction activity is slow. In a lot of markets, junior brokers will also work under a more senior broker who will act as your mentor as you're getting up to speed. And in these situations, you'll also be expected to help with things like showings or basic admin work in addition to building out your own book of business. And if you choose to go the analyst route at a company like CBRE, JLL, Cushman & Wakefield, or Easthill, this comes with its own set of challenges that are different but just as hard. Investment sales and debt and equity placement roles at these shops are some of the most competitive jobs in commercial real estate, with a lot of networking and a pretty lengthy interview process required just to get your foot in the door. And when you do land one of these jobs, these also usually come with extremely long work weeks and extremely high expectations with very little room for error on the work product you produce. Now, even though your first few years in brokerage can be really hard, the next thing I want to talk about is why people still go into this career path despite all of these challenges. And this is that if you can make it about 5 years in brokerage, you're very likely going to be out earning your peers by a very wide margin. In my mid-20s, I did a lot of informational interviewing, and during that time, I heard a lot of stories about young brokers making $300 to $400 a year only a few years out of undergrad, more experienced brokers making 2 to 3 times that, and a few guys in their early 30s making 7 figures a year. And even though you can make great money on the principal side of the business in acquisitions or asset management roles with a lot more stability than you'd see in brokerage, the upside potential when you're a salaried employee just isn't as high as what you could make on commission. Brokers with about 5 years of experience also tend to have a lot more autonomy on a day-to-day basis than people working in acquisitions or asset management, especially if you're hitting your sales targets. So this can also be something to think about depending on how you like to work. The key takeaway here is that if your main goal is to maximize your earning potential over the long term, and you're okay with what could be a pretty bumpy ride to get there, it's really hard to beat going the brokerage route. Now, the next thing you want to be aware of going into this part of the industry is that the path you choose to take can have a huge impact on your experience. In a 100% commission-based role, you'll be doing a lot of cold calling and very little analytical work, which can be great for some people, but not so great for others. For people who have no interest in the numbers or people who are extremely competitive and thrive in a sink or swim environment, these types of roles can be great places to be. But for people that get into the industry with the goal to learn how to analyze investment opportunities or with the goal to work on high-profile transactions, these types of jobs can leave a lot to be desired. And alternatively, for people who want to work on big, complex deals with major private equity firms and institutions as clients, an analyst role can be a really good fit. But for people who just can't see themselves reading through leases or building out financial models, these jobs can be extremely overwhelming and often very frustrating. Entry-level analyst roles also tend to come with a lot more external pressure to perform, which can be great for people who enjoy working as part of a team and need that additional layer of accountability to be at their best, while entry-level commission-based roles usually come with more internal pressure to perform that's much more centered around your own financial goals. Both of these paths can ultimately lead to really high incomes and a lot of success in this business, but to minimize the amount of friction you'll run into as you're building your career, you'll want to take a second to think about how you operate best when deciding where you want to focus. Now, the last thing I want to mention here is really important for people who aren't 100% sure that they want to be in brokerage for the long term, and this is the difference in exit opportunities between these two paths. Entry-level 100% commission-based jobs are usually focused on middle market deals in the $2 to $10 million range owned by individual investors with relatively small portfolios. And while a job like this can be a really good training ground to become a better salesperson, people in these roles typically aren't all that well versed in real estate investment analysis or valuation, which can make it pretty tough to transition out of this part of the business if you decide you want to move on. And this is especially true for people who want to transition over to the principal side of the industry in an acquisitions or an asset management role, since these jobs will almost always expect candidates to have a very strong knowledge of real estate finance and financial modeling in Excel. And because real estate finance and financial modeling in Excel are things that you'll become very well versed in when working in an analyst role in investment sales or debt and equity placement at a company like CBRE, JLL, Cushman & Wakefield, or Eastdil, these jobs tend to come with significantly more exit opportunities if you decide that brokerage isn't for you long term. And because these roles will have you interfacing directly with major private equity firms and institutions on a day-to-day basis, it's extremely common for analysts at these firms to go on and work for a client, which can make these great jobs to target for people who want to use brokerage as a stepping stone to break into acquisitions or asset management later on. Ultimately, brokerage can be one of the most lucrative career paths in commercial real estate, but these are the key things you want to be aware of going in. And if you want to make sure you have the skills you'll need to land a job at a major brokerage firm and you're ready to tackle an Excel modeling exam that might be given to you during the interview process, make sure to check out our all-in-one membership training platform, Breaking a CRE Academy. A membership to the Academy will give you instant access to over 120 hours of video training on real estate financial modeling and analysis. You'll get access to hundreds of practice Excel interview exam questions, sample acquisition case studies, and you'll also get access to the Breaking a CRE Analyst Certification Exam, which covers topics like real estate pro forma and development modeling, commercial real estate lease modeling, equity waterfall modeling, and many other real estate financial analysis concepts that will help you prove to employers that you have what it takes to tackle the responsibilities of an analyst or associate at a top real estate firm. And if you like this video and want to see more content on commercial real estate brokerage, make sure to hit the like button and let me know. And if you're watching this and you are interested in brokerage as a career path, let me know in the comments if you're looking for commission-based jobs or analyst jobs and why that's the case. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to see more videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video.